What is up, guys? Rick Hackus here, and this is probably the most requested video I've had in a very long time, comparing the heavy hitter shotguns, the Party Crasher +1, the Matador 64, and heck, let's throw in the Felwinter's Lie. Now before we start the comparisons, let's go over each gun individually, but I want to start here with the Party Crasher +1 and explain something very important. I'm going to put on Smart Drift Control and change it to Fitted Stock. Now, watch at the range. Look at how much the range is increased with Field Choke. Quite a bit. That range is substantially increased. Now, I'm going to put on Reinforced Barrel, which increases the range, and go back to Field Choke. Now it's a lot smaller. Why is that? It's because there is a theoretical max. The range can only go to this point. It cannot go any further on any shotgun in the entire game. So keep that in mind. Starting range is important because it means that you need less perks to get to that theoretical max range. But just again, keep that in mind. You don't have to go balls to the wall looking for all these range perks because often you can reach it without having the absolute best things to range. Like Reinforced Barrel, I could have had Small Bore and probably still reach the absolute range maximum. All these guns have great starting ranges, and so you really don't need to go that hard to find stuff to get you to that range max. Now, just going over the perks here, Aggressive Ballistics. Now, Field Choke actually, as you can see, increased the range by more, but I already reached that max distance, so I decided to go with Aggressive Ballistics and increase the damage just a little bit. Rangefinder, obviously useful. Aiming down sights increases the range. Rifled Barrel increases the range, and Final Round. This is pretty useful because once you get to the final round, you can only make it so you only reload one shell at a time and keep getting that final round bonus. Quite useful there. Now let's go over the perks of the Matador 64. Firstly, Field Choke. Again, that's going to massively increase the range. Aggressive Ballistics probably would have been a little better. Shot Package, Reinforced Barrel, and Army of One. Army of One is going to be pretty useful simply because you're going to get a lot of unassisted kills, aka you're going to get a lot of one-hit kills. Now let's go over the Felwinter's Lie. This, I got a new version, so unfortunately I do have Rifled Barrel. If you get an old version and you just have a straight increase to range, that's probably going to be better. Like, this increases range, but it also slows reload. So if you have like a pre-DLC Felwinter's Lie, that's probably the best version you can get. But in any event, I have Aggressive Ballistics, Shot Package, Rifled Barrel again, and Grenadier. Kills this weapon reduce grenade. Again, you could get better things, but I mean, once you roll it with Aggressive, Shot Package, and Rifled Barrel, the last perk doesn't really matter too much. Now, let's get to the moment I'm sure you've all been waiting for, the actual comparisons. Party Crasher +1 versus the Matador 64. Boom. You can see exactly this. I'm going to really flash it. You can see that there's ever so barely slightly, the Matador 64 has better impact. You can see a tiny bit of green. It's very hard to see, but it is there. Now, my Matador 64 again has Field Choke. With Aggressive Ballistics, I think it would have increased the damage even more. So the Matador 64 does have a tiny damage bonus when compared to the Party Crasher. But look at the other perks. The Party Crasher has better rate of fire, better stability, and better reload. Those things are gonna matter. Like, not every once, you don't always get one-shot kills. And the tiny bit of extra damage the Matador has, I mean, what's that to another follow-up shot, a much more accurate follow-up shot that the Party Crasher has? So here, I think the Party Crasher is actually a winner over the Matador 64. It just beats it in everything but a tiny difference on impact. Now, if you really want those one-hit kills, the Matador 64 is superior, but overall, it looks to me like the Party Crasher is actually the better gun. Next, we have the Felwinter's Lie. Let's compare the Party Crasher to the Felwinter's Lie. Now, here, it's a little bit more of a noticeable impact difference. Now, I think that actually the Matador 64 with Aggressive Ballistics and the the Felwinter's Lie might actually have this same difference of the impact. So yes, you do have more impact, but you again gotta think of what does that translate to. You are probably guaranteed, 4-5 inches, maybe a foot extra distance, probably not even a foot, 6 inches extra distance of one-shot kill potential, maybe, with the Felwinter's Lie. But look at that rate of fire. That is double. The Party Crasher +1 has double the rate of fire. So if you ever need to fire again, if there's ever two enemies in the same proximity, the Party Crasher is always going to be superior. Yes, the Felwinter's Lie, as you can see, is going to be better at a straight one-shot kill, but there's going to be a lot of scenarios where you need that second shot. So here, again, I'm not exactly sure. Now let's compare the Matador 64 with the Felwinter's Lie. Felwinter's Lie looks to me like kind of clearly the superior option. The Matador 64 has a better rate of fire by not as much of a difference as the Party Crasher. The Felwinter's Lie has better impact, that again might just be because of the ballistics, but also has greater stability. So which gun is best? Well, let's be honest guys, in practical terms, these guns are almost all the same. You could see that when I was comparing these guns, impact is essentially the same through all of them, and range is exactly the same. There was small differences to rate of fire, stability, and reload. Now, I should mention the Felwinter's Lie actually does have a magazine of 6, and the other two have a magazine of 5. That's not super important. And a lot of these changes to rate of fire, stability, and reload are probably due more to the ballistics than it is to the guns themselves. It seems like the Matador 64 and the Felwinter's Lie have a tiny bit better impact than the Party Crasher. So if you're going to absolutely go for one-shot kill potential, probably know if you want a Trials of Osiris gun where there's not many enemies, there's only 3 enemies on a team, and you really need to kill that first guy as soon as you shoot him, you're best suited with the Felwinter's Lie and or the Matador 64. If you want an all-around Crucible shotgun, it seems like the Party Crasher +1 is superior. Yes, it has a tiny bit less impact, but every other stat seems to be a little bit more favorable when compared to the other two options. So for most players, whichever one of these you get first, that's going to be good enough. Level that up, max it out, and you will have an incredible PvP shotgun. If you have all 3, and you're looking for the absolute best possible option, I think that statistically, out of all of these, the best would be a pre-DLC Felwinter's Lie. That's because you can get a hammer forged, and it straight up increases range and accuracy, I believe, and has no downside. However, if you're like me and you've gotten all of these post House of Wolves, I think the best option is actually the Party Crasher +1. Yes, I know this is going to ruffle some jimmies, but I just think that the superior stats in pretty much every area, especially rate of fire. The rate of fire of the Party Crasher is essentially double of the other insanely low rate of fires of both the Felwinter's Lie and the Matador 64. And again, being able to get that second shot off is extremely important. Shit happens. And if there's something that happens that you don't kill the guy the first shot, you're gonna need to shoot again. End of story. And I want a gun that has like almost the same one-hit kill potential as the other two shotguns, the Felwinter's Lie and the Matador, but can shoot at almost double the rate of fire. That's a pretty important factor. That being said, if I was going into Trials of Osiris, I would run the Felwinter's Lie. I want the absolute maximum one-hit kill chance by the millisecond, by the nanosecond, by 1 damage. I need to get that kill the first shot. And so, the extremely competitive stuff, Trials of Osiris, I'm running the Felwinter's Lie, but for everyday Crucible play, for Iron Banner, I'm running the Party Crasher +1. I hope you guys enjoy this video. What do you guys think? Leave in the comment what you believe is the best shotgun. Remember to rate, comment, and subscribe if you did enjoy this video and want to see more videos similar to this, and as always, have a good day.